Because of this way of life, I've been able to create some amazing situations in my life. And just as one example, I was at work and talking to my boss and just got this prompting to lean forward to make a point, and a very heavy grate fell from the ceiling and hit the back of my chair with the point of it.
This is what we mean when we say your inner being is always with you and has broader view about everything and knows in every moment where you are in relationship to everything that matters to you. And when you are in sync with who you are, so that those impulses are flowing through you easily. Esther likes to watch the birds, because often a bird will make an entrance into her experience in a dramatic way, like dive bombing into the swimming pool or something unusual, not characteristic to this bird, but he's making some point. And Esther knows that this bird has received this pure impulse from non-physical to punctuate something that Esther's got going on in her life or in her mind at the moment. And so, yes, when you are tuned in, when you are feeling good, and therefore you're not having to think about whether you should lean forward, the impulse just comes and you do. Oh, this is really what we're talking about. That's that sweet spot where you are able to receive that broader perspective. Some years ago, Jerry and Esther moved to Texas. They had not been there long. And they discovered that there are some, what the Texans call true gully washers that come through, big rains that come, and the rivers rise, and often there is flooding around or near the rivers, and sometimes beyond. And so Jerry and Esther had left their property to go into this little town of Bernie to collect their mail. And they couldn't get to the post office because the Cibolo Creek had overrun its banks, and the post office was surrounded. There was no way to get into it. So they immediately called their friend Pat and Lawrence, who lived in San Antonio, which was downstream from Bernie, because the Cibolo Creek went right through the 1,000 acres of property that they had in San Antonio. And Esther said, Cibolo's over its banks here and undoubtedly headed your way. And they said, thanks so much. And they moved their tractors and their cattle from the field that was prone to flooding. And then Pat called back and said, it is so nice to have a friend upstream. And that's what we want you to know you have with your source energy bird's eye view about everything. In other words, not only understanding who you really are and what you're wanting, but where you stand right now in relationship to it. And this is the most important thing that you'll hear from us. Understanding what the path of least resistance is to get you from where you are to where you want to be without a grate stuck in your head. From where you are to where you want to be. And the important thing that we want to say about that path of least resistance is you have put all the resistance on your path, not knowing that you're doing it, of course, but by forming beliefs that get in the way, beliefs of unworthiness, or beliefs that something is difficult, or beliefs that you're not capable, or beliefs that you are vulnerable, or beliefs that there are all kinds of things that are fostered in your environment. And your parents, bless their hearts, well-meaning beings that they are, put a lot of those fear in you to try to contain you. And so as you have these pieces of resistance on your trail, your inner being is not condemning you for the resistance being there. Your inner being is just understanding where you are and where you want to be and what resistant pieces you have, and knows how to guide you around them. And so your inner being wasn't tugging on your shoulder and saying, hey, listen to me, get out your notebook, write down these words, the sky is going to fall right now. There wasn't time for that. Instead, you just were offered an impulse of knowledge, and you were the receiver of it, the pure receiver of it. A lot of people aren't. A lot of people get hit in the head because they're worried about this, and they're worried about this, and they're worried about this. But it isn't because guidance isn't being offered. It isn't because the revelation isn't there. It's that you're not in the receptive mode of it because you're in the receptive mode of something else. You can't be in the receptive mode of joyful things and the receptive mode of negative, unpleasant things at the same time. You've got your tuner set where you've got your tuner set, you see. So clearly, your tuner was set in sync with who you are, and the impulse just flowed. And that's the way it is all day, every day. You are all so guided and you know it. Things like that happen all the time to all of you. You're zigging and zagging into well-being over and over and over again. And just because occasionally you get caught out of sync doesn't mean anything, that you're just not paying attention to what you're doing. We like to lovingly call it sloppy thinking, not paying attention to the way you feel.